Part 1. The bridge of the HMS Valiant was quiet except for the soft beeping of computers. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair looking at reports from the outer colonies. It was a normal day, or at least it had been until now. Lieutenant Amy Foster turned around from her station with wide eyes. Her hands moved quickly across the screen in front of her. Something was wrong. Jake could tell by the way she held her shoulders tight and high. "Captain, we have an incoming message on the emergency channel. It is not from any human ship or station." Jake stood up fast. His coffee mug nearly tipped over on the armrest. The emergency channel was only used when something very bad was happening. In the 3 years since humans had joined the Galactic Council, they had never received a message on that channel. "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The large screen at the front of the bridge came to life. The image was shaky and filled with static. Through the interference, Jake could see a blue alien creature. He recognized it as a Verith from the council meetings he had attended. The Verith usually had bright blue skin that almost glowed. This one looked pale and sick. Its 4 eyes were huge with fear. Behind the creature, red lights flashed. Alarms screamed in the background. Jake could hear explosions somewhere in the distance. The whole scene made his stomach tighten. "This is Counselor Zephix of the Verith Collective," the alien said. The translation device around its neck turned its clicking sounds into words Jake could understand. "We are under attack. The Krell Dominion has broken through our defenses. Our fleet is scattered across space. Our worlds are burning. Our people are dying." The Verith counselor moved closer to the camera. Its face filled the screen. "We are calling for help from anyone in the council who can hear this message. We are begging for aid." There was a pause. Another explosion sounded in the background. The whole room where the Verith stood shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. "We know what you are, humans. We have read the reports about your world. We know that your planet tries to kill you every single day. We know that your weather can destroy cities. We know that your animals hunt in packs and your oceans can swallow ships. We know that every human child learns to survive in a world that does not care if they live or die." The Verith's voice became softer, almost a whisper. "We know you call yourselves peaceful, but we also know that you only choose peace because you are strong enough to choose it. We need that strength now. Please, we are begging you. We need your Deathworlders. We need your Armada. We need help before there is nothing left to save." The screen went black. The transmission had ended. The bridge was silent. Every person on the crew stared at the empty screen. Jake felt his heart beating hard in his chest. He had never heard an alien sound so scared. The Verith were known as one of the kindest species in the galaxy. They had helped humanity learn about the Council. They had welcomed humans when others had been suspicious. Lieutenant Chris Page was the first to speak. He was the tactical officer, a young man from Colorado who was very good with weapons and strategy. "Sir, I am checking the star charts. The Verith home systems are 3 days away if we use maximum jump speed." Jake was already moving. His mind was working fast, making plans and decisions. "Navigation. Plot a course to Verith space right now. Communications. Send an urgent message to Fleet Command on Earth. Tell them we need every ship we can get. This is not a drill." He turned to Amy. "Send a message to all human ships and stations in this sector. Tell them the Verith need help. Tell them we are going to war." Amy's fingers flew across her keyboard. "Message sent, Captain." Jake pressed the button on his chair that connected him to the whole ship. "This is the captain speaking. We have just received a distress call from the Verith Collective. They are under attack and they need our help. We are changing course immediately. All hands prepare for combat. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." He released the button and looked at his second in command. Commander Lisa Hayes was a woman in her 40s who had been in the military longer than Jake had been alive. She had seen real combat back when humans were still fighting each other over resources on Earth. "Lisa, wake up the Marines. Tell Sergeant Kara Mitchell that her people need to be ready for anything." Lisa nodded. "Already on it, Captain." Within minutes, the HMS Valiant began to move. The engines powered up with a deep rumble that Jake could feel through the floor. The ship turned toward the Verith systems and prepared to jump through space. Down in the Marine section of the ship, Sergeant Kara Mitchell was already getting her soldiers ready. She was a tough woman from Texas who had grown up on a ranch. She knew how to work hard and how to fight. Her Marines respected her because she never asked them to do anything she would not do herself. "Listen up, people," Kara shouted over the noise of soldiers getting their gear. "We are going to help the Verith. They are under attack by something called the Krell Dominion. I do not know much about the Krell yet, but I know they are hurting innocent people. That is all I need to know. Private Danny Hughes raised his hand. He was the youngest Marine on the ship, barely 20 years old. Sergeant, what if we are outnumbered? Kara looked at him with hard eyes. Then we make sure we take enough of them down that they remember us forever. But we are not going to lose, Hughes. You want to know why? Because we are human. We come from Earth. Our planet has tried to kill us with ice ages, volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, and diseases. We are still here. We do not give up, ever. The other Marines cheered. Kara felt pride warm her chest. These were good soldiers. They would do what needed to be done. Back on the bridge, Jake watched the countdown timer for the jump. 3 minutes until they left normal space and entered the faster-than-light tunnel that would take them to Vareth space. Captain, we are receiving responses to our message, Amy said. Dozens of ships are changing course to meet us. They're coming from all over human space, Jake smiled. Good, the Vareth asked for our armada. Let us show them what humanity can do when someone threatens our friends. The timer hit 0. The ship jumped. Space twisted around them as they entered the tunnel. They were going to war. Across human space the call went out. From Earth to Mars to the distant colonies, humans heard the cry for help. They heard that innocent people were dying. They heard that someone needed help and humanity answered. Part 2, the rendezvous point, was an empty space near the edge of Varath territory. When the HMS Valiant dropped out of the jump tunnel, Captain Jake Morrison could not believe what he saw on his screen. Ships. Hundreds of them, maybe more. They kept appearing as more vessels dropped out of their own jumps. Big military destroyers, small fast corvettes, even some civilian ships that had been quickly fitted with weapons. How many do we have? Jake asked. Lieutenant Chris Page checked his screen. 347 combat vessels, sir. Another 100 support ships for medical aid and supplies. And more are still arriving. Commander Lisa Hayes whistled softly. I have never seen this many human ships in one place. Not even during the fleet exercises. Humans do not like bullies, Jake said simply. The Vareth are good people. They helped us when we joined the council. Now someone is trying to destroy them. Of course everyone came. On the screen Jake could see all kinds of ships. There were proper military vessels from Earth Defense Fleet. Mining ships from the asteroid belt that now carried railguns instead of drilling equipment. Transport ships from the colonies that had been turned into troop carriers. Even a few luxury yachts whose rich owners had demanded to help. Every ship had come for the same reason. To help people who could not help themselves. Incoming transmission from the UES Defender, Amy announced. Admiral Patricia Cole wants to speak with you. The screen changed to show an older woman with gray hair and eyes that looked like they had seen too many battles. Admiral Cole had been commanding fleets since before humans had met aliens. She was famous for being tough and smart. Morrison, the Admiral said, give me a status report. All ships present and ready for combat, Admiral. We have good numbers and everyone is eager to fight. Admiral Cole nodded. I have been looking at the data the Varath sent us before their communications went down. The Krell use basic military tactics. They just throw more ships and more firepower at a target until it breaks. They win through overwhelming force. That will not work against us, Jake said. No, it will not. The Krell have never fought humans before. They do not know that we do not follow the normal rules of war. Every other species in the galaxy fights carefully. They have procedures and protocols. They fight by the book. The Admiral smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. We are going to throw that book out into space. She leaned forward. Here is the plan. We are going to hit them fast and hard. We are going to use tactics they have never seen before. We are going to show them what happens when you attack someone under human protection. What are your orders, Admiral? Prepare your crew, Captain. In 6 hours we jump into Vareth space. When we get there, we go straight for the Krell fleet. No warnings. No negotiations. We show them that Deathworlders do not make threats. We make promises. And we always keep our promises. The transmission ended. Jake turned to his crew. You heard the Admiral. We have 6 hours. Make sure this ship is ready for the biggest fight of our lives. On the assault carrier UES Thunder, Sergeant Kara Mitchell stood in front of her Marines. The room was crowded with soldiers checking weapons and armor. The air smelled like gun oil and nervous sweat. Gather around, Kara ordered. The talking stopped. Every Marine turned to look at her. In a few hours we are going into battle. Some of you have fought before. Some of you have not. It does not matter. What matters is that we are Marines. We are human. We are from Earth. She walked back and forth in front of them. I want you to think about Earth for a minute. Think about our home. We have hurricanes that can level cities. We have earthquakes that split the ground open. We have animals that hunt in packs. We have diseases that killed millions of us. We have ice ages and droughts and floods. Kara stopped and looked at each soldier. Every single one of you is alive because your ancestors survived all of that. Your great-great-great-grandparents did not run away from danger. They faced it. They adapted. They overcame. That is in your blood. That is who you are. Private Danny Hughes spoke up. Sergeant, the Krell are supposed to be really big. Like twice our size. They have natural armor. 4 arms. They have conquered lots of worlds. Good, Kara said. That means they are used to winning. They are used to smaller species running away scared. They are used to easy victories. She grinned. They have never met humans before. They do not know that we are not afraid of things bigger than us. We killed mammoths with stone spears. We tamed wolves. We looked at birds and decided we wanted to fly too, so we built machines to do it. She raised her voice. The Krell think size matters. They think fear is a weapon. They are wrong. We are going to teach them that the most dangerous thing in the universe is not a big predator. It is a small human who is protecting someone they care about. The Marines cheered. Corporal Lisa Grant, a woman from New York, raised her rifle. What is the mission, Sergeant? The mission is simple. We land on the Varath colony world. We find the Krell ground forces. We remove them. Permanently. We show them that Earth sends its best and Earth's best do not lose. Near the back of the group, Private Jake Myers nodded to his friend. Think we can really win this? His friend, Private Sam Porter, smiled. My grandfather used to tell me a story. He said that humans spent millions of years learning to survive on a planet that was actively trying to kill us. We learned to work together. We learned to make tools. We learned to never give up no matter how bad things got. That is our secret weapon. We just do not quit. On the bridge of the UES Defender, Admiral Cole looked at the star chart. 347 ships. It was the largest human fleet ever assembled. Every ship represented people who had volunteered to risk their lives for aliens they had never met. Her second in command, Captain Ryan Foster, stood beside her. Admiral, do you really think we can win? The Krell have more ships than we do. They have been conquering worlds for centuries. The Krell have numbers, Cole agreed. But we have something better. We have humans who grew up on a death world. We have soldiers who learned tactics by playing strategy games. We have pilots who trained in atmospheres where one mistake means death. We have people who think that running toward danger is normal. She turned to look at him. The Krell are about to learn a hard lesson. They are about to learn that there is a difference between being peaceful and being harmless. Humans are peaceful because we choose to be, not because we have to be. What if they do not learn? What if they keep fighting? Then we keep teaching until they understand. Or until there are no more Krell left to teach. The fleet waited in space. Soldiers checked their weapons. Pilots ran through flight simulations. Engineers made sure every ship was running perfectly. Cooks prepared meals for crews that might not have time to eat later. Medical staff set up their equipment and hoped they would not need it. Everyone knew what was coming. Everyone knew that some of them might not come back. But no one suggested turning around. No one suggested leaving the Varath to their fate, because that was not what humans did. Humans helped people. Humans protected the weak. Humans stood up to bullies even when the bully was bigger. Even when the bully had more ships. Even when the bully had conquered a dozen worlds. The timer counted down. 5 hours. 4 hours. 3 hours. The Krell were about to meet humanity, and humanity was about to show them why you should never, ever attack someone under the protection of Deathworlders. The fleet prepared to jump. Weapons were armed. Shields were powered up. Every ship was ready. The Varath had called for help. They had asked for the Deathworlder Armada. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. Part 3 War Master Throck stood on the command deck of his flagship, watching the Varath colony burn below. He was pleased. His 6 arms hung relaxed at his sides. His thick armored skin reflected the light from the burning cities. This was another easy victory for the Krell Dominion. The Varath defense fleet has scattered, his second officer reported. Their remaining ships are fleeing to the inner systems. The colony is ours. Throck made a sound like grinding rocks, which was how Krell laughed. Send word to the Dominion Council. Tell them another weak species has learned to kneel before Krell strength. Begin landing more troops. I want every city secured by tomorrow. The Krell had conquered 14 species in the last 50 years. It was always the same. They arrived with overwhelming force. The target species tried to fight. They failed. They surrendered. Simple and efficient. War Master, we are detecting jump signatures. Multiple signatures. Many of them. Thruk leaned forward in his command throne. The Vareth called for reinforcements? Good, we will destroy them too. How many ships? Sir, these are not Vareth signatures. The configuration is unknown, and there are hundreds of contacts, still counting. Thruk felt something he had not felt in years. Uncertainty. He watched his screen as ship after ship appeared from jump space. They were not like the smooth, elegant vessels the Council races used. These ships were blocky and covered in weapons. They looked angry. Identify those ships immediately. His officer worked at his console. Sir, the computer matches them to the new Council species. The humans from the Death World called Earth. Thruk had read the basic reports about humans. They were a young species that had just joined the Council 3 years ago. Their planet had high gravity and dangerous weather. They had no major military victories. They should be irrelevant. How many ships do they have? Over 400, War Master. And they are not slowing down. They are coming straight at us at combat speed. Thruk stood up. Something was wrong. Council species did not act like this. They sent diplomatic messages first. They tried to negotiate. They followed protocols. These humans were doing none of that. They were just coming straight at his fleet like predators chasing prey. Battle formations. Prepare all weapons. We will crush these newcomers and teach them not to interfere with the Krell Dominion. His fleet began to move. 600 ships against 400. The numbers favored the Krell, they always did. That was how the Krell fought. Overwhelming numbers. Overwhelming firepower. Break the enemy through pure force. On the HMS Valiant, Captain Jake Morrison watched the Krell fleet reposition. They were forming up in standard attack formations. Exactly what he expected. The Krell fought like they had always fought. They did not adapt. They did not change. They just applied more force. All ships, this is Morrison. Execute pattern Sierra 7. The human fleet suddenly broke apart. Ships scattered in what looked like complete chaos. To the Krell, it must have looked like the humans were panicking, like they were running away. That was exactly what Jake wanted them to think. The Krell are taking the bait, Lieutenant Chris Page reported. Their fleet is advancing. They think we are retreating. Perfect, Jake said. Wait for my signal. The Krell ships moved forward. They were confident. They were sure of victory. They had seen this before. Smaller species always ran when the Krell showed their strength. But the humans were not running. They were positioning. Every ship that looked like it was fleeing in panic was actually moving to a specific location. It was like watching dancers, each one moving to their assigned place. Now, Jake said quietly. The human fleet stopped retreating. Every ship turned at the same moment. Suddenly, the scattered, panicking fleet became a coordinated attack force. Ships that had been running away charged forward at full speed. Weapons that had been cold suddenly lit up. Railguns fired. Missiles launched. Lasers cut through space. The humans were using every weapon they had, including some that the Council had decided were too dangerous for civilized warfare. The Krell fleet ran straight into the attack. They had been chasing prey. Suddenly, the prey had teeth and claws. Direct hits across their front line, Chris reported. Multiple Krell ships taking damage. They are breaking formation. Launch all fighters, Jake ordered. Target their command ships. Cut off their head. From the fighter bays of a dozen carriers, human pilots launched into space. Lieutenant Sam Porter led his squadron through the chaos. Around him, space filled with weapons fire. It was like flying through a thunderstorm. But Sam had grown up flying in atmospheres. He had learned to pilot in weather that could flip his aircraft upside down. He had trained in conditions where one mistake meant death. This was almost easy compared to flying through a hurricane. Blue Squadron, follow me. We are going for that big ship in the center. His squadron followed him through the Krell defensive fire. The Krell had good weapons, but they aimed where their targets were, not where they were going to be. Human pilots had learned to think 3 moves ahead. They were always somewhere other than where the enemy expected. Sam's computer locked onto the Krell command ship. The shields were strong, but shields had a weakness. They drew power from generators. Hit the generators hard enough and the shields failed. Firing missiles. 6 missiles streaked from his fighter. All around him, other pilots did the same. Dozens of missiles hit the Krell shields at exactly the same point. The shields flared bright. Energy crackled. For just a moment, a gap opened. That moment was all Admiral Cole needed. The UES Defender had been waiting for this. Its main railgun was a weapon that used magnets to throw a piece of solid tungsten at incredible speed. The projectile was not explosive. It did not need to be. It was just very dense metal moving very fast. The tungsten slug hit the Krell command ship right where the shields had failed. It punched through the armor like paper. Atmosphere vented into space. The huge ship began to spin out of control. Target destroyed, Admiral Cole said calmly. All ships focus fire on their heavy cruisers. Break their formation apart. War Master Throck pulled himself off the floor. His command throne had been ripped from its mounts. Around him, his bridge crew struggled with damaged consoles. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the air. Damage report. Shield generators offline. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Main weapons at 60%. Engineering reports fires in the reactor section. Throck looked at his screen in disbelief. His fleet was being torn apart. The humans were everywhere. Their small fighters moved too fast to track. Their larger ships concentrated their fire, destroying his vessels one at a time instead of spreading damage around. They fought like nothing he had ever seen. They did not follow any tactics he knew. They adapted constantly. When he tried one strategy, they countered it immediately and attacked from a different angle. They fight like pack hunters, he said slowly. They isolate targets. They focus on the weak. They work together perfectly. Another wave of human fighters screamed past his damaged flagship. He watched them attack his troop carriers. The big transport ships had no real weapons. They were designed to carry soldiers, not fight battles. The fighters destroyed them easily. War Master, we have lost 30% of our fleet. The humans are cutting off our escape routes. Throck felt fear. Real fear. The Krell were used to easy victories. They were used to enemies that broke and ran. These humans were not breaking. They were not running. They were hunting. Order all ships to fall back to the outer system. We need to regroup. But the humans had planned for that too. As the Krell fleet tried to retreat, they found human ships blocking every escape route. The hunters had surrounded their prey. Back on the HMS Valiant, Jake watched the Krell try to run. Do not let them regroup. Stay on them. We end this now. The battle raged for hours. Ship after ship fell. The Krell fought hard, but they were fighting an enemy they did not understand. They were used to warfare being about size and numbers. The humans made it about speed and tactics. As the sun rose over the Varath colony, the last Krell ships either surrendered or ran. The great Krell invasion fleet had been destroyed by a human armada that was smaller in number but far more dangerous. On the colony surface, the Varath emerged from their shelters. They looked up at the sky where human ships now patrolled. They had been saved by the Deathworlders. Admiral Cole looked at the casualty reports. They had lost ships. They had lost people. But they had won. The Varath were safe. Send a message to the Krell survivors, she ordered. Tell them that the Varath are under human protection now. Tell them that if they ever attack a council species again, we will be waiting. The message was sent. Across the galaxy, word began to spread. The humans, those strange creatures from the violent death world, had destroyed a Krell invasion fleet. They had done it with tactics that defied all military tradition. The age of humanity had begun. Part 4. While the space battle raged above, Sergeant Kara Mitchell and her Marines were already on the ground. The transport had dropped them at the edge of the Varath capital city 3 hours ago. Now they moved through streets filled with rubble and burning buildings. Contact ahead, whispered Corporal Lisa Grant. 6 Krell soldiers. 200 meters. Kara looked through her scope. The Krell were massive. Each one was at least 8 feet tall with thick armored skin that looked like it could stop bullets. They had 4 arms, each one carrying a weapon. They moved with the confidence of soldiers who had never lost a battle. Team 2, move left and get to high ground. Team 3, circle right. Team 1, with me. We hit them from 3 sides at once. The Marines moved silently. Years of training had taught them how to use cover and shadows. The Krell were looking for an enemy that would line up and fight honorably. They were not ready for humans who used every advantage they could find. Kara counted down with her fingers. 3, 2, 1. All 3 teams opened fire at once. The Krell had armor, but every armor had weak points. The Marines aimed for joints, for the gaps between plates, for the areas that could not be protected. They had studied the Krell anatomy during the trip here. They knew where to shoot. 3 Krell went down in the first seconds. The others tried to return fire, but they could not figure out where the shots were coming from. Humans were firing from windows above, from behind rubble barriers, from angles that seemed impossible. 1 Krell tried to call for backup. Private Danny Hughes put a bullet through its communication device before it could finish. Another Krell charged toward Team 1's position. It got 5 steps before Corporal Jake Myers dropped it, with 3 precise shots to its leg joints. The entire fight lasted less than 2 minutes. When it was over, 6 Krell soldiers were down and not 1 Marine was injured. "Move out," Kara ordered. "We have more work to do." They pushed deeper into the city. Every time they encountered Krell soldiers, the result was the same. The Krell were bigger and stronger. They had better armor. But the Marines were faster, smarter, and more adaptable. They fought like the predators their ancestors had been, using ambush and surprise. On the other side of the city, the Krell ground commander, a warrior named Grok, was receiving reports that made no sense. His soldiers were being wiped out by an enemy that should be weaker than them. Humans were supposed to be small and soft. "How are we losing to these creatures?" he roared at his officers. "We are Krell. We have conquered a dozen worlds. How are we being beaten by humans?" One of his junior officers, who had survived an encounter with a Marine squad, spoke quietly. "Sir, they do not fight like the Council species. They do not line up. They do not follow honorable combat rules. They hide and attack from surprise. They use the environment against us. They target our weaknesses. They fight like cowards," Grok said. "No, sir. They fight like hunters. Like predators. Like creatures that evolved hunting things bigger and more dangerous than themselves." Grok wanted to argue, but he could not. The reports kept coming in. Another squad lost. Another position overrun. Another group of Krell soldiers killed by humans who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. Kara's Marines linked up with other human units. Soon they had 50 soldiers moving together through the city. They were heading for the Krell Command Center, a large building near the center of the city. "Sergeant," Private Sam Porter said, "that building is going to be heavily defended. We could take heavy casualties." "That is why we are not going through the front door," Kara replied with a smile. "We are humans. We do not play by their rules." She gathered her squad leaders. "The Krell think in straight lines. They will have defenses at all the obvious entry points, so we are going to go through the walls. Team 1, you have the explosive charges?" Corporal Lisa Grant held up her pack. "Enough to make a new door, Sergeant." "Good, here is the plan. We are going to hit them from 4 directions at once. Not the doors. Not the windows. The walls. We blow holes in the walls and go in fast. They will not know what hit them." The Marines moved into position. They placed their explosive charges at 4 different points around the building. Inside, the Krell soldiers waited at the doors and windows, ready for a traditional assault. Kara keyed her radio. "All teams ready?" "On my mark, 3, 2, 1, execute." The explosives went off at the same moment. 4 holes appeared in the walls of the Krell Command Center. Before the dust even cleared, Marines were pouring through. They moved fast and shot accurately. The Krell inside were facing the doors when the humans came through the walls behind them. The fight was short and brutal. The Krell were tough, but they had been caught completely off guard. Within minutes, the command center was secure. Grok found himself surrounded by human soldiers, their weapons pointed at him. He slowly lowered his own weapons and placed them on the ground. Kara walked up to him. Even though she barely came up to his chest, she did not look afraid. "You are done here. Order your soldiers to surrender. The battle is over." "How?" Grok asked. "How did you defeat us?" "We are bigger, stronger, more experienced." "You are bigger," Kara agreed. "But we are from Earth. Our planet spent millions of years trying to kill us. We survived ice ages. We survived predators. We survived diseases and droughts and floods. We learned to work together. We learned to adapt. We learned to be smart instead of just strong." She looked him in the eye. "You relied on your size and your armor. You thought that was enough. But humans learned a long time ago that size does not matter if you are smart enough and determined enough. We killed animals 10 times our size with stone tools. Fighting soldiers twice our height with modern weapons is actually easier." Grok was silent for a moment. Then he activated his communication device. "All Krell forces, this is Commander Grok. Stand down. Surrender to the human forces. The battle is lost. Across the city, Krell soldiers put down their weapons. Some tried to keep fighting. Those were quickly dealt with by Marine units who now controlled every strategic position in the city. By nightfall, the battle was over both in space and on the ground. The Krell invasion had been completely defeated. The Verith were safe. In the command center, Kara sat down for the first time in 20 hours. Her legs ached. Her throat was dry. She was covered in dust and grime. But they had won. Private Danny Hughes approached her. "Sergeant, I have been thinking. We just defeated an enemy that has conquered a dozen worlds. We did it even though they were bigger and had more experience." "How?" Kara smiled tiredly. "Because we are human, Hughes. We do not give up. We do not run away. When someone tells us we cannot do something, we figure out a way to do it anyway. That has been true for every human who ever lived. It will always be true." Corporal Jake Myers added, "Also, we trained harder than they did. We thought about the battle before it happened. We made plans. We adapted when things changed. They just did what they always did." "That is the difference," Kara said. "The Krell thought they were unbeatable. They got lazy. They got predictable. We stayed sharp. We stayed creative. We stayed ready for anything." Outside, human ships patrolled the skies. Human soldiers guarded the streets. Medical teams were already helping wounded Verith civilians. Engineers were assessing damage and planning repairs. The Varath emerged from their shelters slowly, carefully. They saw human soldiers directing them to safe areas. They saw human medics treating their wounded. They saw human engineers already working to restore power to the city. One young Varath approached Kara. The alien's skin was still pale from fear, but it was starting to return to a healthier blue color. "You saved us," it said simply. "We helped," Kara replied. "You would have done the same for us. We would have tried," the Verith said. "But we do not have soldiers like you. We do not have warriors like you. We do not come from a world that makes its children fight to survive." Kara stood up. "Maybe not. But you called for help when you needed it. That takes courage too. And now you have friends. Friends who will come when you call. Friends who will fight when you cannot." The Varath looked at her with all four eyes. "Is it true what they say? That your world tries to kill you? That you survive things that would destroy us?" "It is true," Kara said. "Earth is a hard world. But it made us hard too. It made us survivors. It made us protectors. That is what humans are. We protect those who cannot protect themselves." As the sun set on the Varath colony, the word was already spreading across the galaxy. The humans had defeated a Krell invasion force. They had done it with tactics that no one had seen before. They had fought with a determination that seemed impossible. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they had proven that they were not just survivors. They were warriors. Warriors who fought for others. Part 5. 3 days after the battle ended, War Master Throck stood in a Varath council chamber. He was a prisoner now. His fleet was destroyed or captured. His ground forces had surrendered. The mighty Krell Dominion had been beaten by a species they had never even considered a threat. Across from him stood Admiral Patricia Cole, Captain Jake Morrison, and Sergeant Kara Mitchell. The humans looked tired but satisfied. Behind them, Verith officials watched quietly. "You fought well," Throck admitted. The words tasted bitter, but they were true. "Better than any species we have encountered." "You picked the wrong fight," Admiral Cole said. Her voice was calm but firm. "The Verith are under human protection now. If the Krell Dominion tries to attack them again, you will face our full fleet. And next time, we will not stop at just defending. We will come for your worlds." Throck's mandibles clicked. In his species, it was a sign of frustration. "You think you have won?" "The Krell Dominion has hundreds of worlds. We have thousands of ships. This was just one fleet." Captain Jake Morrison stepped forward. "Then let me make something very clear, War Master. You need to take a message back to your Dominion. Humanity is done watching from the sidelines. We are done letting bullies terrorize peaceful species." Jake's voice grew harder. "You thought the Verith were weak because they chose peace. You were wrong. They were not weak. They were just peaceful. There is a difference. Now they have allies who can fight for them. Allies from a death world. Allies who have spent their entire evolution learning to survive things that would kill you." Sergeant Kara Mitchell moved closer. Even though Throck towered over her, she did not look intimidated. Every human child grows up hearing stories. Stories about monsters and heroes. Stories about standing up to bullies even when they are bigger than you. Stories about protecting the innocent. She looked up at the War Master. Congratulations. You just became the monster in our stories. And humans love stories where the monster loses. Throck was silent. He had faced many enemies in his long military career. He had conquered worlds and destroyed fleets. But he had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that seemed to think danger was exciting. An enemy that ran toward fights instead of away from them. An enemy that got more determined the harder things became. What happens now? He asked. Now you go home, Admiral Cole said. You tell your leaders what happened here. You tell them that humanity will defend any council species that asks for our help. You tell them that if they want to be conquerors, they will have to go through us first. She leaned forward.
And you tell them this.
We are not the Vareth. We are not peaceful vegetarians from a gentle world. We are from Earth. Our planet has tried to kill us with ice and fire. Our animals hunt us. Our weather destroys our cities. We have diseases that killed millions. We survived all of it. Do they really want to fight a species like that? Throck looked at each of the humans. He saw no fear in their eyes, no doubt. Only confidence and a hard determination. These were warriors born from a world of war. I will deliver your message, he said quietly. In the weeks that followed, the news spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council held emergency meetings. Species that had been neutral started choosing sides. Some aliens were afraid of humanity's aggressive behavior. Others quietly contacted Earth to ask about defense treaties. The Varath spoke passionately at the council. Councilor Zefix addressed thousands of representatives from hundreds of species. For centuries, the council has maintained peace through diplomacy, Zefix said. This is good. This is right. Talking is always better than fighting. But there are species in the galaxy that do not respect words. They only respect strength. The councilor's skin shifted to a golden color, showing gratitude. The Krell Dominion attacked us because they thought we were weak. They thought our choice to be peaceful meant we could not defend ourselves. They were partially right. We could not stop them alone. Zefix turned to where the human delegation sat, but we called for help. And humanity answered. They came with ships and soldiers. They fought a battle we could not fight. They saved our people from extinction. Some species in the audience made sounds of disapproval. A representative from a species called the Quill stood up. The humans used excessive force. They destroyed the Krell fleet. They could have negotiated. Zefix's skin turned red, showing anger. The Krell were burning our cities. They were killing our children. What negotiation is possible with an enemy that only wants your destruction? The Quill representative sat down quietly. Zefix continued. Humanity has shown us something important. They have shown us that choosing peace does not mean being helpless. That being kind does not mean being weak. They are warriors, yes, but they are warriors who fight for others, not for conquest. The speech was recorded and sent across the galaxy. Every species heard it. Every government discussed it. Humanity had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. On Earth, Admiral Cole stood in Fleet Command headquarters looking at star charts. Since the Battle of Varath, 17 species had asked for military assistance. 8 had requested that human Marines train their own soldiers. 3 had proposed formal defensive alliances. Captain Jake Morrison stood beside her. The news feeds are calling us Deathworlders like it is an insult. Cole smiled slightly. Let them. We are from a death world. We are dangerous. But we are dangerous to bullies and conquerors. We are protectors, not predators. Do you think the Krell will try again? Maybe, probably. Bullies always come back. But next time, they will know what they are facing. Next time, they will have to think hard about whether it is worth it. She turned to look at him. Humanity spent millions of years learning to survive. We learned to hunt in packs. We learned to use tools. We learned to never give up no matter how bad things got. That is what makes us Deathworlders. That is also what makes us the perfect defenders. Jake nodded. So we are the sheepdogs of the galaxy now? That is a good way to put it, Cole agreed. Peaceful with the flock. Gentle with the weak. But absolutely lethal to wolves. In the Vareth capital, now mostly rebuilt with human help, a monument was being built in the central square. It showed a human Marine standing guard over a Varath family. The Marine looked alert and protective. The Varath family looked safe. At the base of the monument, words were carved in both languages. They came when we called. They fought when we could not. They proved that the strongest warriors are those who fight for others. Sergeant Kara Mitchell attended the dedication ceremony with her Marines. The Verith had insisted that the humans who had saved them should be present. Private Danny Hughes looked at the statue. "Do you think we really changed anything, Sergeant? Or will the Krell just attack someone else?" Kara thought about it. "Maybe they will. But now everyone knows that humans will respond. Now peaceful species know they have someone who will fight for them. That changes everything." Corporal Jake Myers added, "My dad used to say that the only thing necessary for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. I guess we did something." "We did more than something," Kara said. "We sent a message. A message to every bully and conqueror in the galaxy. If you attack innocent people, humans will come, and we will stop you." Private Sam Porter grinned. "I like that. It is like we are the galaxy's emergency number. 911, but with spaceships and guns." The other Marines laughed. But there was truth in the joke. Humanity had become the defenders of the weak, the protectors of the innocent, the species that ran toward danger instead of away from it. That night, as human ships patrolled Verath space, Admiral Cole sent a message to all human vessels and stations. It was short and simple. "To all human forces, we have proven ourselves in battle. We have shown the galaxy what humanity can do. But remember why we fought. We did not fight for glory. We did not fight for conquest. We fought because innocent people needed help. That is who we are. That is who we will always be. Stay sharp. Stay ready. Because somewhere in this galaxy, someone else might call for help. And when they do, we will answer." Across human space, from Earth to the frontier colonies, soldiers and sailors read the message. They understood. They were ready. The Krell had asked for war. Humanity had given them a lesson instead. A lesson about the difference between being peaceful and being harmless. A lesson about what happens when you threaten someone under the protection of Deathworlders. And in the darkness between the stars, that lesson echoed as a warning. Humanity was watching. Humanity was ready. And humanity remembered those who preyed on the weak. The age of the human protectorate had begun. Part 6. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Verath. The galaxy had changed in ways no one had expected. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his ready room on the HMS Valiant reading the latest intelligence reports. What he saw both pleased and worried him. The Krell Dominion had not attacked anyone since their defeat. Their massive empire was quiet. Too quiet. Intelligence suggested they were rebuilding their fleet, but they were also doing something else. They were studying humans, learning about Earth, trying to understand how they had lost. But the Krell were not the only ones paying attention. 23 species had now formed defensive pacts with humanity. 41 had requested human military advisors. The Council had officially recognized Earth as a major military power. There was a knock at his door. "Come in." Commander Lisa Hayes entered carrying a data pad. "Captain, we have received another distress call. This time it is from the Trell Confederacy. They are being raided by pirates," Jake sighed. "Pirates, of course. How many ships?" "The Trell say there are at least 30 pirate vessels. They have been attacking Trell merchant ships and colony outposts for 3 months. The Trell have asked the Council for help multiple times. No one has responded until now." "Why did no one help them before?" Lisa shrugged. "The Trell are a minor species. They are not important politically. They do not have valuable resources. They do not have a powerful military. They are just simple farmers and merchants trying to survive." Jake stood up. "In other words, they are exactly the kind of people we should help." Admiral Cole agrees. "She is assembling a task force. We leave in 6 hours." 6 hours later, a small human fleet dropped out of jump space in Trell territory. This time there were only 30 ships. The pirates were not a military force like the Krell. They did not need the full armada. The Trell were a species that looked like tall, thin birds. They had feathers instead of hair, and their eyes were large and round. When they appeared on the view screen, Jake could see the relief in their faces. "Thank you for coming," the Trell leader said. Her name was Chira, and she spoke in quick, chirping sounds that the translator converted to words. "We thought no one would help us. We are too small, too unimportant. You called for help," Jake said simply. "That makes you important to us." Chira's feathers ruffled, which Jake had learned meant she was emotional. "The pirates have taken so much from us, food, supplies. They have killed our people. They say we are weak and deserve to be prey. Where are these pirates now? They have a base in the asteroid field near our fourth planet. They hide there between raids. Our ships cannot fight them. We are merchants, not warriors. Jake looked at his tactical officer. Lieutenant Chris Page was already working. Sir, I have located their base. It is well hidden in the asteroids. They probably think no one can find them. Show them they are wrong. Navigation, plot a course. Weapons, prepare for combat. Communication, send a message to the pirate base. Tell them they have one chance to surrender peacefully. The message was sent. The response came back quickly. It was just laughter and crude insults. The pirates thought the humans were bluffing. They thought 30 ships could not threaten them. They were wrong. The human fleet moved into the asteroid field. The pirates had set up defensive weapons on the larger asteroids. They had mines floating in space. They had hidden gun platforms ready to ambush anyone who came close. It might have worked against the Trell. It did not work against humans who had trained in asteroid fields back in the solar system. Humans who played video games that simulated exactly this kind of combat. Humans who thought that flying through fields of spinning rocks was fun. Lieutenant Sam Porter led his fighter squadron through the asteroids. Behind him, the pirates tried to track him with their weapons. They could not keep up. Sam had grown up racing small ships through the asteroid belt near Mars. This was just another race, except with guns. Blue Squadron. Mark the defensive positions. We will hit them all at once. His squadron split up, each fighter taking a different path through the asteroids. To the pirates, it looked like chaos, but each pilot knew exactly where they were going. They had practiced this maneuver 1,000 times in simulators. Marking complete. All ships fire on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. 20 fighters fired at the same moment. Every hidden gun platform exploded. Every mine was destroyed. Every defensive position was eliminated in less than 10 seconds. The pirate ships came boiling out of their hiding places. There were 37 of them, more than the Trell had thought. They were ugly ships, cobbled together from stolen parts and scrap metal. But they had guns and they had numbers. What they did not have was discipline or training. They flew like individuals, each captain trying to be the hero. They did not coordinate. They did not work together. They were just a mob with weapons. The human fleet moved like a single living thing. Ships covered each other. Fighters supported the larger vessels. Everyone knew their role and executed it perfectly. It was not even close to a fair fight. Within an hour, the battle was over. Half the pirate ships were destroyed. The rest had surrendered or fled. The pirate base in the asteroids was a smoking ruin. Sergeant Kara Mitchell led a boarding party onto the largest pirate ship. She found the pirate captain, a large alien with 6 legs and too many teeth, trying to hide in a cargo bay. "It is over," Kara said. Her rifle pointed at the captain. "You and your people are under arrest." The pirate captain hissed at her. "You cannot stop us. There are hundreds of pirate groups in the galaxy. You cannot protect everyone." Kara smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Watch us. You thought you could prey on the weak because no one would stop you. You were wrong. Humanity stops bullies. That is what we do. But there are so many species that need protection, so many weak targets. Then we will be busy," Kara replied. "But we are good at being busy. We are good at working hard. We are good at not giving up." Back on the Trell homeworld, the bird-like aliens celebrated. Their merchant ships could travel safely again. Their colonies were protected. They held a ceremony to thank the humans. Chira spoke to Captain Jake Morrison and his crew. "We have nothing valuable to give you. We cannot pay for this help. We have only food and simple goods." "We do not want payment," Jake said. "We want you to be safe. That is enough. But why? Why help us? We are nobody. We are just farmers and merchants." Jake thought about how to explain it. On Earth, there is an old saying. It says that evil wins when good people do nothing. You are good people. The pirates were evil. We could not do nothing. Chira's feathers ruffled again. "But you are warriors. You are from a dangerous world. Why do you care about farmers from a peaceful world?" "Because we are not just warriors," Jake said. "We are also farmers. And teachers. And parents. And friends. Yes, we can fight, but we fight so that people like you do not have to. We fight so that farmers can farm. So that merchants can trade. So that children can grow up safe." Admiral Cole received a message from Earth a week later. The government wanted to formalize humanity's new role. They wanted to create an official organization dedicated to protecting council species that could not protect themselves. She called a meeting with her senior officers. Captain Jake Morrison, Sergeant Kara Mitchell, and a dozen other commanders gathered in the conference room. Earth wants to create something new, Cole explained. A military force dedicated entirely to defending others, not to conquest, not to expansion. Just defense, what would we call it? Asked one of the captains. They are suggesting the Terran Protection Fleet, Cole said. Ships and soldiers dedicated to responding when peaceful species call for help. Jake leaned forward. It makes sense. We have proven we can do this. We have the training. We have the willingness to help. Why not make it official? Kara nodded. My Marines would volunteer for this in a second. They joined to protect people. This would let them do exactly that. Over the next few months, the Terran Protection Fleet was formed. It was not the largest military force humanity had. That was still the Earth Defense Fleet, which protected human worlds. But it was the most important in terms of galactic politics. Ships were assigned. Troops were trained. A new base was built on a moon in neutral space, where the fleet could respond quickly to any call for help. The word spread quickly across the galaxy. There was now an official force dedicated to protecting the weak. Species that had been afraid to ask for help before now had someone to call. Not everyone was happy about this. Some species thought humanity was becoming too powerful. Some worried that the humans would use their military might to control others. Some simply did not like the idea of one species taking on the role of galactic protector. But the species that were being protected did not care about politics. The Verith, who could now rebuild without fear of attack. The Trell, who could trade safely again. A dozen other small species that had been victims of pirates, raiders, and aggressive neighbors. They all supported humanity's new role. In the Krell Dominion, the ruling council met to discuss what to do about the humans. They had studied the battle reports. They had analyzed human tactics. They had learned everything they could about Earth and its people. They are unlike any species we have encountered, one counselor. They do not fight for resources or territory. They fight for concepts, for ideas like justice and protection.